Alright, so here I am. I'm playing another um, Ubisoft manufactured game or produced game. They were the studio that did it for the publisher, who is the U.S. Army. This is called America's Army Proving Grounds. And one of the features of this game is this delightful shooting range called the Swenson Range, named after, as the sign says here, Major William D. Swenson. He was a U.S. Army Ranger and a Medal of Honor recipient. Um, So the range has a number of features. It has a just an absolute ton of weapons, um, like the Scar H, RPGs, and a whole bunch of other things that I'll get through and go through in these videos. Today I'm starting off with a 1911. That's what this video is going to be, is looking at the 1911, and I want to look at bullet drop and recoil profiles of the 1911. Up until about the mid-1980s, and 1911 was a sidearm of choice in the United States military. Um, and even through the 90s, a lot of guys in CAG, aka Delta Force, used to use it. And a friend of mine named Geo Hand, he wrote a neat article on it. I'll link that in the description of the video and probably post it as well in the forum uh, topic I plan on doing on this. Talking about how they would rework the 1911 in the weapons room CAG to make it a lot more efficient, and they would be able to shoot targets. I can't remember if he said 100 or 150 meters out. Um, which, in all honesty, that's a really long ways for a pistol. That isn't what pistols are primarily meant to do. They're meant to engage targets a lot closer. With 50, 75 meters being like usually what most people consider maximum engagement range. Anyway, so here we are on the Swenson range. The upper part, there's a downstairs indoor range as well, which I'll show you in a little bit when we go to do some profile checking. And what I just did is I picked up a spotter scope. The spotter scope will let me zoom in, and you can see there's the 50, okay, they call it yards in this game. This game came out, I think it was in 2012. And I don't know if it's because the Army was just slow to adopt what everybody else did, or if it was, I was never Army, so I couldn't tell you, or if it was just because, and this is probably more likely, it was aimed at an American audience who know yards better than they know meters. Even though there isn't a huge difference in actual distances at any of these ranges when you look between yards and meters. Maybe out of 250 you might get, but it'd still only be at most um, a meter or two off of uh, what is regular, or yeah, in difference in distance, and that's not going to make a huge difference at all in bullet drop and ballistic performance. Now, at the start of this, I want to say I am not a ballistics expert in any sense of the word. I know some basics of ballistics and how bullets work. However, I am a shooter, not a ballistics expert. This is why I'm not a sniper. Um, you need to know a lot more to do that than just to shoot straight. So I'm good at shooting straight. That was my thing. Um, but I know some basics. I know some, and I definitely know how these bullets or weapons are supposed to perform more or less on these ranges, these distances. So um, what we're going to do, we're going to start with the 50 meter target there, and we'll look at the how it performs 50, 75, 100, 150, and then I was able to do this earlier as I actually recorded this video before, but I had some technical difficulties. I'm going to throw some rounds down at the 200 meter target. I hit it in the first one. I don't know if I'll be able to do it again. This one, it requires a lot of what's called holdover. So anyway, here we go. I'm going to shoot out at the 50 meter target here. And what I'm doing is, this is how I learned to shoot a pistol. You put the front sight over whatever you want it to hit, and we call that front sight, and we call it front sight focus. I'm not overly worried about the back sights, just where that front sight post is. So I'm going to pull the trigger. Spotting scope. So yeah, I was aiming for the bull there, and I hit just south of it. That isn't too bad. I don't know if that's just me or if it's the way the game plays here. And already my bullet marks started to disappear. Okay, so we're going to switch over to the 75-meter target. And once again, you see at 75 meters, we're hitting just south. Going to go to the 100-meter target. Now in wildlands, and I don't know breakpoint yet. We'll see come September 5th when the beta drops. At this point, you would be seeing some serious drop off in pistol round performance, and so I'm gonna initially hold right on target, see where it hits, and then I'll do holdover as a need to actually try and get it where I want it. Slide lock, reload. All right, so the first two of the four that you still see up there, I wasn't doing any sort of holdover. I was aiming basically right about there, and you see they hit a little low. That still would have been probably within torso range. The second two, I was aiming at the top of the disc, and they put them right around the bull. So now I'm going to go to the 150-meter target. At this point, I'm not even going to try and aim straight at it, as I know I won't put lead on steel. I'm going to do a holdover. Probably I'm going to place the front post right on the 150 there, and I should be hitting right about there. And in all honesty, on a 45 caliber, remember, 45 caliber pistol is a subsonic round. It means it comes out of the barrel going slower than the speed of sound already. Um, if you're a well-trained shooter, you can actually watch the bullet fly. Um, and it'll hit, so yeah. Anyway, you can actually watch the bullet go. Um, Again, see the article. I'll link from Geo about that. So I'm gonna hold there, and because it's coming out so slow, it does have increased drop naturally, and because the barrel's so short. So here we go with this. So yeah, I put two on there and there. Let me reload and I'll throw some more down, see what we got. So I'm still shooting, even though I'm aiming here, I'm still shooting a little low. Um, and that's, a part of this is when you're dealing with the pistol is knowing where the natural aim points of the pistol itself are and all of that. That's fairly reasonable and realistic bullet drop. Now, just for giggles, I'm going to try and shoot at the 200-meter range, and I'm going to be entirely honest. Nobody ever expects anyone to hit something except for like a trick shooter at 200 meters with a pistol. Okay, I know there's some guys that do it on YouTube videos or whatever. Um, they're not. they're not. That's not operational. That's not like it's at a known range or whatever. Sure, I know this 200 meters. I know I can hold here and get what I want. But in all honesty, you're not going to engage anything at 200 meters with a pistol. If all you have is a pistol and you have a target 200 meters away, a better strategy, frankly, is to run. All right, 4 shots, 3 on steel. Little dispersed. You can see there's one there. There's one there. I can't even see the third right now. And I was aiming somewhere up around here. Okay, and yep, that's normal for a 45 caliber. That is normal. All right, so I'm gonna head down into the downstairs range. I'll give you a little quick tour of what we got going on here at Swenson's range down there, and then do some other things. So these, by the way, are discharge barrels. They're clearing barrels. If you once you run a gun dry, especially something that has a double action or whatever, um, or an M4, if you close the way many people store them is they close the bolt and then release the firing pin by. And so these would be a barrel full of water or other ballistic material, things that'll stop a bullet. You put the barrel in there, you pull the trigger, like thus, and even if there is a round, because um, fluid dynamics, the water will catch it and it won't shoot through, and you then know you have a clear gun. And I just hit slide lock again, which is okay. I have one magazine left. Um, pick up some ammo. So what we have going on down here, vending machines, which we can't actually buy anything from in this game, but they're great for appearance. A 5-yard range. Sorry, I keep wanting to say meters. 10, 15, and then this is really cool, I think, is a movable target range. So you have the controls here. I can slide the target in, 20, 10, and move it back out. So if I'm shooting all the way down at 30, I can then pull it in to really see where my shot placement is. And then finally we have the recoil test chamber, which is basically a place just to blast away and see what the recoil profile is. And in this particular game, you have 4 basic options as far as shooting stance. One is supported, like this, which means you're behind cover, like this, and you pop up and you support your weapon on the cover item as such, and that gives you a more stable shooting platform. Back away. The next one is standing, crouched, and then prone. And you can see him crawl. Yes, he keeps his arms apart, even when carrying a rifle, and he's crawling prone. That, from what I understand, is Army doctrine, and it's really a good idea as it allows you to get rounds off at anything in front of you. Anyway, so going supported, and I'm just going to do basically a mag dump into that square in front of me. So that's the that's where the rounds go. As you can see, that's a fairly decent dispersion pattern right there. Not too much, totally controllable. So here we are now standing, do the same thing. Again, that's the dispersion pattern. Let's see, we'll go crouched, this is where you'd have like your elbows on your knee, elbow on your knee, which gives you some more support. Okay, that was more side to side. And then the last 7 rounds we'll throw down will go from prone. So there's that. Again, it's a pretty good dispersal pattern. I think I jerked a couple with my mouse. Just believe it or not, as much as I can pull a trigger quickly, for some reason tapping the mouse button gets my sometimes gives me some jiggle. Let's see. Load. We're at 10 meters, and I'll show you how this would look if I did a dump into a person at this range. Now look, whenever you do a magazine dump into a target, that's usually considered a panic shot. It's as in you have something in front of you you need to clear straight away, and you're just gonna do a shot chain until it goes down. About like that. Preferable is more controlled, where you allow the muzzle to come back to 0 every time. Like that. But anyway, so either one, those are real, in my opinion, those are fairly realistic recoil profiles for a pistol, especially in a video game. Now look, they're not trying to emulate a professional shooter, they're not trying to emulate a tier 1 operator, they're trying to emulate, because this is the Army's simulator, to give people an idea of what it would be like to be a soldier in the United States Army. This is what a well-trained, dedicated soldier in the U.S. Army would be able to pull off. Professional shooters, tier 1 operators, they have a little bit better recoil control, and the reason is that recoil control ultimately is a learned skill. If you want to see a good demonstration of what that looks like in real life, I would suggest going on YouTube and looking up a guy named Jerry Misalik. He's a 70-year-old dude who can really throw some lead on target, despite being an old man. So it'll give you a better idea of what it looks like. Or you can look up Pat McNamara, former Delta Force operator. He can shoot a lot faster, more accurately than the guy I'm now currently controlling in this video game. So, alright, that's the 1911. The next one I'll do is the M9, aka the Beretta 92, and I'll give a little bit of history of that pistol as well. I may try the, let's see, in a future video, I may try the M17, which is the new SIG. I've actually never shot that in real life, but in the video game it seems pretty cool. And then I'll work up through rifles, or maybe the MP7 over here. Let's see, just to give you one last thing, a bit of fun. This is the what it's like to shoot an RPG in this game. Yep, on steel. There you go. One more. Why not? I'll burn through both of them. And there's the spent tube. Let's see. Let me try and put this all the way out at 200. There you go. I said that because then we're getting rockets and goes through kind of breakpoint. So, hope you enjoyed that. Hope it was a bit informational. And by the way, in case you haven't figured it out, I really hope, and this is one of my future requests for the Ghost Recon staff, is that they give us a shooting range like this to be able to try out the various weapons in Ghost Recon Breakpoint. for various reasons. Well, um, we'll see. Hopefully they will. This is it's one of my main petitions. But there you go. And when we come back, I'll do something else. And I just want to basically get through all of these so we can have a baseline, a video game baseline, especially a video game that Ubisoft has already done, to be able to get the feel for what a more realistic bullet drop is, and hopefully we can convince Ubisoft to give us a more realistic bullet drop and ballistic performance in Ghost Recon Breakpoint, or if not in Breakpoint itself, in whatever future Ghost Recon game comes out. But I'm really hoping that we can get them to do it in Ghost Recon Breakpoint if it isn't already there. And like I said, we'll know in a few days on September 5th.